Okay, it is time to start the next A to Z mini rework changes my thoughts thingamabobber doohickey. Draven The Glorious Executioner. Damage, physical, style, way more auto attacks, difficulty 3, damage 3, mobility 2. All of these are true. I kind of want to give him 2 in crowd control just because of his 1 ability, but I can understand why he doesn't. In Noxus, warriors known as Reckoners face one another in arenas where blood is spilled and strength tested, but none has ever been as celebrated as Draven. A former soldier, he found that the crowd's unique appreciated his flair for the dramatic and his unparalleled skill with his spinning axes. Addicted to the spectacle of his own brash perfection, Draven has sworn to defeat whomever he must to ensure that his name is chanted throughout the empire forevermore. This is not what his lore used to be. Oh, the first time I ever read that, he was an executioner that would execute people in great ways, basically. Okay, passive. League of Draven. Draven gains his fans' adoration when he catches a spinning axe or kills a minion, monster, or tower. Killing enemy champions grants Draven's bonus gold based on how much adoration he has. Spinning Axe. Draven's next attack will deal bonus physical damage. This axe will ricochet off the target, hit up into the air, or high up into the air. If Draven catches it, he automatically readies another spinning axe. Draven can have 2 spinning axes at once. He can have more. He can have more than just 2 at once, because if he's fighting another Draven, he can actually catch the Draven's other axe. Unless they change that. Okay, Blood Rush. Draven gains increased movement speed and attack speed. The movement speed bonus decreases rapidly over its duration. Catching a spinning axe will refresh the cooldown of Blood Rush. Yeah, that's... Stand aside. Draven throws his axes, dealing physical damage to targets hit and knocking them aside. Targets hit are slowed. Whirling Death. Draven hurls 2 massive axes to deal physical damage to each unit struck. Whirling Death slowly reverses direction and returns to Draven after striking an enemy champion. Draven may also activate this ability while the axes are in flight to cause it to return early, deals less damage for each unit hit, and resets when the axes reverse direction. Okay. Now let's get to the balancing. Okay, so his passive, honestly, I find this fine. I think that he gets maybe adoration just a little bit too fast with how many things it is, because it's just catching an axe, which really isn't all that difficult, but it's at the same time not the easiest thing in the world. Kills with minions, monsters, towers. I guess since he needs to actually get a champion kill, it's understandable. So I would leave it the way it is now, honestly. I think that he can build it up a bit fast, but at the same time, I said, I would leave it the way it is now. Plus, when he already hits 6 items, it really doesn't make all that big of a difference. Okay. Spinning Axe. This is the ability that I'm actually going to come to last, because it's one I hate. Okay, Blood Rush. I'm okay with this ability. I don't think it should be able to reset off of every axe he catches. I think that it should just lower the cooldown by 1 every axe he catches. I understand why it is the way it is, because especially when his auto attacks are not that far ranged, but they do a lot more damage. So if he has his Q active, he does a ton of damage, and he'll pick up another axe, or if he catches it, then he'll be able to keep on running, keep on throwing more axes, keep on catching them easier, but it does at the cost of using mana a heck of a lot more. So I have 2 possible solutions for this. One solution would be that he catches that like what I was saying earlier, where every time he catches an axe, it only reduces the cooldown by 1. Or 2, he still, like, it refreshes every time, but but it's kind of like Kog'Maw or Kassadin, will repeatedly using his W within a certain amount of time will cause it to increase in mana cost more and more. The reason this will be is just so he cannot spam it. Now, to be truthful, it's not that spammed all that often. Like, I have seen people just like use Blood Rush over and over and over again, but to be truthful, it's really not that spammed. Like, most people, like, after using it once or twice, you really don't need to use it after that. And that's why I would say that I think the original one of just catching an axe lowers the cooldown would be the best situation. Maybe it doesn't have to be 1 second, maybe 2 seconds, depending on what the original cooldown of it is. And yeah. His E. Stand aside. Stand aside. Sorry about that. Pushes people. I lost my train of thought. People. I think that it shouldn't be able to both push people to the side and slow them. Is, I think, the problem. It's already a form of hard CC. Why does it need to slow them afterward? I understand that it's not like a full, because it's only like not even a second. It's like 0.5, 0.75% of a second, maybe a full second. I could be mistaken about that, but I don't think it needs to slow. It hits all targets. It's not like it hits first target then slows every target afterward. If it was something like that, where upon throwing your axes, the first target hit gets knocked aside and slowed, and every other target afterward just gets the slow, I'd say okay. But it's not. It pushes all targets and then slows all targets, and I think it's just a bit too strong. So what I would either do is, as I was saying, I would just have it just knock people to the side and nothing more, or would have it knock the first person to the side and slow every person behind them. But I would also give it like a bonus effect, such as like readying his axes. By that I mean like his Q, meaning like the people that he hits with his E, it will either lower the cost of his, not the cost, but like the cooldown of his Q. Now I know it's already pretty small, but nonetheless it could just be like it could just increase. Like, let's say you drop an axe, because whenever you drop an axe, it doesn't refresh the cooldown of his Q, and because of that, like, you can't keep throwing them. And if you do drop an axe and you need to throw out your E and you hit 3 people with it, it could refresh the cooldown right there. His ult, I don't have all that big of a problem with it, except for the fact that you can't really dodge it. I've seen people hit by this skill nowhere near it. I have seen people get killed by this ability when they are like if he threw 3 axes, then yeah, they'd be hit, because instead of it just being like here and here, they get hit like way over here and way over here, and it's just like, how did I get hit by that? So, if I would just say you need to adjust the range of it, maybe, or they just like Riot themselves need to, adjust the hitbox of it. So either the hitbox or the range. I'm not really quite sure which one they'd have to adjust to fix that problem, but like it is a problem. Like, I've both seen and I have actually been killed by this method before too, where I'm like, excuse me, how did that hit? Or where I tried to dodge it, and it still managed to hit me, even though I, like, it didn't. It did not touch me. So all I would really do for it, though, is just change the hitbox / range of it and nothing more. I think the distance of it is good. I think the, like, upon hitting first target is when it comes back and everything is good, and how he can pull it back himself. I think all of these things are okay. Then last, we have his Q. Now, this is the ability that's stupid. It just makes him do too much damage. Draven's next attack, I'm going to reread it. Draven's next attack will deal bonus physical damage. This axe will ricochet off the target, hit up into the air. If Draven catches it, he automatically readies another spinning axe. Draven can have 2 spinning axes at once. This ability is stupid. I think it increases his damage by too much. Like, I would say it's okay if he couldn't crit or, lifesteal off of it. But no, it's basically a Rengar Q, but constantly. Like, imagine if Rengar's Q was a passive. It's like every auto attack he does is empowered. That's this. It's like, I know that, like, that's not fully true because, he does need to actually catch the axe to keep on going. But, that first auto attack is guaranteed to do increased damage. And I have had my entire health bar just chunked by these things. And, like, I can kind of understand, he is an ADC, he is an assassin, he should be doing high amounts of damage. But I think that's too high. He should not have the one-shot of the assassin mixed with the survivability of an ADC. And by survivability, I mean, like, how he can stay at a range from you, and he even has, like, CC and everything and mobility to keep him away from you. And in that regard, I think it's just too much, especially because it goes way too well with, like, the rest of his kit. As I said, like, it resets his W. It allows him to keep auto-attacking you from a distance with his E. His ult is if you survive the onslaught of his Q. His passive is kill people with your Q and you're gonna do good. Now, I know you don't need to kill them just with your Q, but still. It's way too strong. I see so many Dravens rush a Bloodthirster first item, and then each auto attack literally heals him for 1/4 of his HP. Like, even if he has 1,000 HP, that's 250 per auto. That is insane. And then they get, like, Bloodthirster IE is, like, his first 2 items, and then you literally get 3-shot, and he heals everything. Not only that, but Bloodthirster's passive of giving him bonus health is just so high. And honestly, it is too much damage. Like, as I was saying, if they removed the capability of critting, or maybe the capability of it giving back HP, I'd think maybe it's a bit more okay. But honestly, I wouldn't do that. I would think that'd be a bit stupid because it is an auto attack. So I would either I would make it changed so that it, instead of it doing maybe bonus damage, just have part of the damage that it would have done. Like, let's say you throw your Q and it's just an auto attack. Something like that ricochets, you have to catch it. And your AD is 300. So, or not that high, because his base AD is honestly pretty high, but let's just say 200. So it's going to be a 2, like, upon, hitting, they do 200 damage. Make 50 of that damage true damage. Or make it do 250 and make the extra 50 ability damage. Something like that. And maybe make his Q actually scale with AP instead of AD, so that, like, the extra damage it does, which will be ability damage, will build off of his ability power. Something like that. So I don't like the actual idea of it building off his ability power. I think maybe it should still build off of his AD and maybe his AP both. That way you could see an AP Draven and just laugh. And then you get one shot by it and you go, never mind, I'm not laughing. I think that would be a better idea instead of it just does bonus damage. Because there have been so many times where I just get 3-shot by this gosh darn thing and I'm like, you're not an ADC, he's an assassin. Like, it's another thing that I find, like, a problem with Vayne. But at least Vayne, like, assassins can get on and kill. And even if she ease you away, you can still, like, she's only strong really against tanks. She's not as strong as against, like, squishier people. Like, squishier people, mages, assassins, other marksmen actually have a pretty reasonably good chance of killing her because, yes, the 3 auto attacks still really hurt, but they're not that bad. As Draven, it's both tanks, squishy, anything has a very high, he has the chance and capability of killing you with ease. And that's what I think is a bit much of a problem. Like, even an assassin jumps on him, he eases you away, he throws an axe. You manage to get, like, your initial burst off, which caused him to lose 50% of HP. But he has a bloodthirster, and he eats you off, plus he used his Q. Now he hits you, and he gains back half of the damage you just did to him with 1 auto attack. And then he activates his W, allowing him to now gain distance from you while pelting you with more axes. So, as I was saying, like, I think maybe his Q could stay the damage it is if I was saying, like, what I was saying about earlier with, like, causing his W to only just, like, lose some cooldown upon catching an axe and not completely reset. And maybe upon his E, not slowing you and still just pushing you aside and nothing else, or doing the other one where it pushes the first person aside and slows them and then slows every person after. That way you still have a capability of getting to him. But I still think even in those cases his Q will still just do too much damage. So I think that it needs to be lowered in some way, shape, or form. I don't know what way, shape, or form, but just in some way, shape, or form. Now, I do have a full-on blatant rework, but it's not perfection. Yeah. So, basically, what it would be, it would change his passive to what his Q is currently. Now you're going to hear me out here. All of his auto attacks would cause him to throw an axe, but there is more than just being his Q. The axe, his right hand, because he's both AP and AD, in what I'm about to say. Okay, what his passive is his right hand throws axes that do damage, like AD. His left hand throws axes that do AP. Like, that will actually scale off of his ability power. The right hand will throw axes that, both of which will bounce off and then come back to you. Upon catching them, it will reset your auto attacks. This is where things get, a little bit tricky. Upon catching an axe, your next auto attack will do slight increased damage based off of, whether it was AP or AD. Now, your Q is basically Katarina Q, where you throw an axe and it will bounce off of a few targets, then land over, like, behind them. This will, and it will just stay into the ground. Upon picking this axe up, it will allow your next auto attack to do bonus true damage. Upon his W, it will just gain him his W will just gain increased movement speed, and this will be shortened, as I was saying earlier, not increased movement speed and attack speed, just increased movement speed. This will be shortened for him doing whatever the heck it's called, catching an axe. Now, his E, yet again, it causes another effect where you throw an axe and it bounces off the target and then it goes to the other side of them, but it will basically do bonus. It's a skill shot. It's not an auto attack. It is a skill shot, and it will land behind them. You pick up this one, and it will cause your next auto attack to be a guaranteed crit. Or no, or if you catch it as well. Now, his passive is the bread and butter, because you're probably hearing all this and think, or not his passive, his alt, like, he is basically keeping the assassin, because as I was saying, like, his passive allows him to do both armor, or both damage and magic, and ability power. His Q will actually scale off of his AP, by the way. It will be his left hand that throws it. His W is just movement speed. His E will scale off of AD, and both of them will land behind the target. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, but then you can't go get them unless you use your W. that's where his alt comes in. So his alt makes a clone of himself. You choose where the clone will spawn. Now, you generally want to choose far away from yourself, like on the opposite side of the target. What you want to do is you're going to use your abilities and your auto attacks, and he mimics your movement, basically. If you are walking left, he'll walk his left, meaning right. If you're walking right, he will walk his right, meaning left. Now, what this means is and his auto attacks and everything will do the same thing yours do. He's a clone. He will also use abilities, the same abilities that you do, meaning you use your Q and it bounces off a few targets and then lands behind them. He will be there to run into it or to catch it. And, like, he will have, like, not the exact movements you will do. He will prioritize things such as picking up axes. He will generally walk towards them as long as you're having him walk towards him, meaning you're walking right, he will walk his right, and he will just walk towards the axe. Now, he can die, but he will also gain, like, movement speed upon, you clicking. Now, if you walk backwards, though, he will walk forward. If you walk forward, he will walk backwards. It's basically inverted controls. Just as, like, you walk right, he walks left. You walk left, he walks right. Everything is inverted. You throw out your E. It hits a target, lands behind them. He'll be there to pick it up, and he'll get the guaranteed crit. But not only that, but whenever you throw your E, he'll throw his E, so both of them will ricochet, getting to opposite sides, so not only will he pick up his axe, but you'll pick up yours. And that will cause you to have a guaranteed crit. You'll pick up his Q, he'll pick up yours, you'll both have guaranteed true damage, and there you go. That's the rework that I came up with. Now, this rework it wouldn't go too well with how things are currently with, like, ADCs, because it doesn't give him much survivability, and it is focused more on damage than anything else. So it is much more of, like, a mid laner or assassin type build, not really ADC, but it could work as it is now. So, now let's go over to skins. Draven, Soul Reaver Draven. I'm not even gonna lie, this is a cool Draven skin. Gladiator Draven. This is just Draven. I find it stupid because it's just Draven, but he took less style with more armor and a lot less practicality. I think he should have a lot more, like, scars on him and not just, like, little cuts here, like scars. Like giant gashes in his, like, arm and legs type deal. Scars. Primetime Draven, I think, is just stupid, but okay. It is what it is. I think it's an okay skin. Pool Party Draven, I just think, is funny and stupid looking, but okay, yet again. Beast Hunter Draven, I think, looks really cool. I wish that they did add, like, more beast like armor on him instead of, like, just being over his, like, arms and legs. I wish there was, like, actually more. Draven, it's just Draven's ego and whatever. Santa Draven, I honestly, I like the skin. I think it is, like, one of the good Christmas skins. I just wish that they messed with the beard. I don't like the way it is. I wish it was fuller. I wish there was, like, more of it. I wish that, like, instead of just having one of these, he had, like, 3 on, like, each side. I would laugh so hard at that, and I would, oh my goodness, it would be great. And those are all the skins he has. Now, I think he would do well with, like, a Battlecaster project, But, those are, like, bigger, more fancier skins. Nope, not what I wanted to click on. I was just saying, like, Battlecaster Project, I think, would be cool. But I'm not too confident about it. Besides that, I really, like, maybe Night Hunter, but that's, like, it's supposed to be, like, the futuristic, or actually, no, it's Headhunter. That's the one that's supposed to, yeah. Headhunter skins, I think, would be okay on him. But, like, I would give him, like, some sort of elite skin, that's for sure. And then maybe a project skin, and that's really all I have for him, to be truthful. Like, yeah, like, the reason I'd give him an elite skin is because there are a lot of different like Noxus groups that do have elite skins, such as like Riven. There's Talon here. Both of them have like a color and then an elite. So I think he would do well with like a green elite or a red elite, whatever the heck you wanted to call it. And just like basing him off that color and everything. And then the reason I think he would just look very cool with like a project skin. Same with like a headhunter, because headhunters like, here, let me go towards like actual champions. Fine Nidalee. Like, these are like futuristic skins where, here it is, where if he's in like this techno armor, I don't know why I'm calling it techno. His hair, like his mustache, can be braided type deal. Something like that, I think, would just look kind of like funny but cool at the same time. Having him in this like the futuristic armor, that's like what a headhunter skin is. I think he would look pretty good with it. But I think like the Project Sim would just look the best, because I can just imagine kind of like what I was saying earlier with Katarina, like with the axes, like picking those up type deal. I can imagine him doing the same with his Qs. Oh my lord, man! I can just having his Qs have like a cool project design on them could just, ooh man, that could be really good and really cool. But that is all I have for Draven. If you agree or disagree with anything that I have said about Draven, please leave it down in the comments, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you happen to know anyone from Riot, I will not mind if you inform them of my existence at all, so please do. But thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. And I bid you all adieu. Goodbye.